Welcome to this presentation. My name is Bennett Kleinberg, and I will present joint work with Isabelle van der Vegt and Maximilian Mozes from University College London about our work on measuring emotional responses to COVID-19. Now, why do we care? The pandemic has led to an unprecedented situation through lockdown measures, and more recently with the availability of vaccination programs. Now, we're talking about a situation here in April 2020 when the UK was going into the first phase of lockdown. And we were really interested in the mental health side of the pandemic. We really don't know how people cope and what the emotional responses are that people have towards the change of circumstances due to the pandemic. What we exploit in this study specifically is the richness of text data and how text data and the automated analysis of text can help us to study human behavior and cognition, among which is emotion analysis. Problem with that, the problem with identifying emotion from text data is that ground truth emotion data are hard to get. Ground truth emotion data simply means that we have a data set where we know how someone felt and we have corresponding text data where someone tries to express how they feel. Now, the aims of this study are then three. We first wanted to construct a data set that the research community can use to learn more about emotional responses. And then we used some computational techniques to understand the topics of people's worries and concerns and try to predict emotions from text data. The data set, which we called the Real World Worry Dataset, was constructed as follows. We used the crowdsourcing platform Prolific Academic and gathered data from a sample of 2,500 participants in the UK. Now, data collection was happening in April 2020. In the first step, all participants were asked how they felt about COVID-19 at that very moment, and rated how they felt about the pandemic on a scale from 1 to 9 on a total of 8 emotions, including happiness, sadness, disgust, fear, anxiety, worry, etc. Now, in the second phase, we then asked them to express how they feel in text form. And they wrote a longer text of at least 500 characters, and they wrote a shorter text that had to be in tweet size. This resulted in a final data set of 5,000 texts with corresponding values on 8 emotions. Here's an example on the right-hand side of text that was gathered from participants. On the left-hand side, we see the distribution of emotions, and we see that worry and anxiety are dominating in this case. Now, the first analysis that we ran was about the topics that people are concerned with. We used a technique called topic modeling from natural language processing, which is based on the co-occurrences of words. Now, in this table, you see on the left-hand side the number of documents that can be categorized as belonging to this topic. And then we see the most important words per topic. Now, these can be interpreted as follows. On the top side, we see in red, these are the people that are concerned about lockdown rules. Then we have others that are concerned about the economic impact. And then more people that are worried about their loved ones. Now, second kind of analysis that we did is about predicting emotions from text. And what we did here is we used a technique called supervised machine learning and trained an algorithm in identifying how someone indicated their emotions. And you see here the results for anxiety, fear, sadness, and worry, because they were the most prevalent emotions. And then we used some properties of the text, so really frequencies of words that I used, and really tasked the algorithm to figure out a relationship between the words used and the emotion that someone had. Now, these results can be explained as follows. The MAE is the mean absolute error, and what we can see here is that our best models achieve a prediction of the true emotion within 14% of the true emotion. Now, key takeaways here, and I'm happy to take any questions during the discussion session, is the dominant emotions are worry and anxiety. We see dominant topics are the lockdown, rules, and economic impact, and the longer text, and the shorter text, which you can see in the paper, is calls for solidarity. Our regression models allowed us to predict the emotion plus minus 14%, and we see important difference between long and short text. have a look at the paper if you're interested. Now, the bigger picture is we really want to understand emotional responses, and we need long text and we need ground truth emotion data. You can see the paper, access to the paper on the right hand side, and you can also use the data set if you're interested. Thank you.